Good evening, TheoTrade. This is Corey Rosenblum, and you're watching the Theo Nightly video for the 28th of April here in 2022, and it is an earnings bonanza. What we're seeing at the moment is the Nasdaq after hours. So the bell rang right here. Nasdaq was up about 3%, and then we had Amazon down. We'll come to all these in a moment, but wait, there is more. Apple had its earnings, and Apple sent the Nasdaq back up. But we are not just talking about those two stocks. I almost feel strange to be a stock that reported today that is not Apple or Amazon, but there were plenty. So a few of the names that reported today, just a quick look at them. And these reported before the opening bell was Eli Lilly, up about 4%. Caterpillar had a very volatile session in today's market, but it ended down less than 1%. We had MasterCard, McDonald's, and Altria. Also, Southern Company reported. Merck was up 5%. So these are some of the plays that took place before the opening bell. But I think the general focus in the trading community today is going to be on two names. If we add a third, it would be Intel. And that is Apple, Amazon, and Intel. Gilead did report, but it is trading essentially back to where it closed on this Thursday session. So let's get started. The Nasdaq had a rally today. In fact, the general market itself had a bounce, and for the S&P futures, that was off of 4150, and that took the index back to a 4300 reversal rally, and it was a stellar intraday rally. And a quick note, this over here is the daily chart, which continues to be in a lengthy, for my analysis at least, a lengthy sideways trading range. That does suggest a good bounce, or at least a good chance for a bounce up away from 4100, with that average price in the middle being around 44 and 45. In today's session, we had some linear moves. That was off the opening print, and that is a stellar gain from about 9 until 10 Pacific. Almost straight up on the 1-minute chart, took us to 4300 and then down from that level. But we're not here to talk about the broader market. We're here to talk about some of the individual stocks that contributed to that play and where we're going into Friday and the week beyond. Remember, next week is the Federal Reserve, so we will have plenty of comments about that before it happens next Wednesday. So the key stocks in today's session, Caterpillar was one of the big names that had a reversal back down, and that was after earnings. It had a bounce in today's session, although it again was volatile. There are the earnings pre-market, down to 202 per share, and ended the session. And that's not necessarily a huge loss from yesterday, but that is underscoring how strong. I'll actually pull that to a 5-minute chart, and you can see yesterday's close, the earnings, 218, 202, closing about 212. And then we had Eli Lilly, of course, looking at its post or pre-market gains as a stock, was up about 4% in today's session, and a few others. MasterCard continues a sideways trading range with the market. Daily chart on the left, intraday chart here on the right. And then McDonald's restaurant had its own bullish session. But let's look at Apple. In fact, no, let's look at Amazon. So after hours, I won't read out the earnings just in terms of the video. If you want to dig a little bit deeper into any of these stocks or anything that reported earnings, including Amazon, Apple, Intel, you can go to the thinkorswim tab. I keep it down here on the watch list, on the widget, the panel, and from that, you can see exactly what the earnings were. As always, you can go inside the Analyze tab as well, and then they don't update this right the moment the earnings come out, but nonetheless, this will be updated, and you can see what the actual number, the performance, the earnings per share, and of course what Wall Street estimate suggested or what they said. So back to the news. Amazon shares, you can read exactly what happened in today's session, but just for the time of the video, we are looking at an expected move, roughly speaking, of about $185, and that's up or down. Where is the stock trading currently? From the close, just keeping this in simple numbers, 2,900 down to about the low 2,550, and we are in a volatile session, of course. So you'll have a little more stable update after you watch the video, and of course, pre-market on Friday morning. But Amazon shares trade currently around the 2,600 level, which is around $300 to the downside. That is a 10% move, looking at the numbers here, 10% move lower directly on the earnings. So that was not bullish for the Nasdaq, and that is directly Apple. That is right at the closing bell. Apple or Amazon reports. Amazon down, Nasdaq down. But Apple reported 30 minutes later. What was a 30-minute later report? Apple had a little better than expected revenue, better than expected earnings per share. You can read all about this here. Of course, I like this. It said it was a Tom Brady-like quarter for Apple. But other shares, other comments, and of course the actual numbers are posted here. And that is the quarter two estimates, 1.53. It beats it with 1.43. And of course the sales beat the estimates as well. Apple shares, again, as the video continues, which is slightly after the market closes, did rally up. Now, what was a target? What is he, generally speaking, expected move? $8.58, roughly speaking. Where did that go? Where does that target us? Roughly speaking, again, around $171. That is about where the stock peaked. A little more precision would put that into a better context, but just for quick references, that is going to be that expected move type implied volatility. The shares traded up to that level and then down. On the daily chart, that same expected move type logic takes you back to the middle of the value area extreme, and that is where the shares of Apple trade currently, around 168, and you will have, again, a better update Friday morning before and at the opening bell. And then Intel. Intel is volatile as well. So its expected move, generally speaking, again, is $3.11. So that takes you up. And the way I do that is just draw trend lines. Draw a trend line down $3. And then I draw a little hash mark there. And of course, up $3. And that is the option-based implied volatility for earnings. Intel hit that to the penny. That translates into about a move to $43.75. That is the snap move. Of course, the earnings are here. Intel sales drop. Of course, the insights. And again, all the things you want to look at for the facts on the numbers. But we're looking at the price for the sake of this video. And that expected move type logic takes us to 43.75. That is roughly down here at the bottom. I was discussing this in my session today of a falling trend line channel, which is going to be right where the stock might open in Friday's session. Gilead as well had earnings, but it at the moment, although it was volatile, is roughly speaking trading back to where it closed. So if you want to go a little bit deeper into any of these stocks, including Caterpillar, which may be something that you are positioning or holding positions in currently, the news is there. Of course, the Analyze tab does have and will update the earnings per share and other information. I feel like I need to focus on the earnings, but a quick note before we conclude. The bond market was flat today in terms of TLT shares, actually traded a little bit higher, but was roughly speaking unchanged. Crude got a bid, crude oil that is, got a bid in today's session. That was mainly from the morning. So that was roughly at the same time, 7 o'clock or so, that the S&P, a little bit after that actually, 7 o'clock here, and that S&P was ramped from 9 until about 11. Crude oil also had a bullish move within that context. Gold as well had a more of a bullish session, but it closed just a little bit unchanged. So outside of those, the Russell is at its, or coming up, at least for the moment, from 1850. The Dow Mini Futures are coming up from its 33,000, a key daily chart level. The Nasdaq did come up, and it's holding above this level for now, 13,000. And of course, that S&P had a rally from 4,100. These prices are changing, and we'll know a little more before tomorrow's session. It could be another volatile session. As always, be careful and safe. This is Corey Rosenblum with tonight's Theo video update for April 28th, 2022.